In today's video, I'm going to cover how I spent $5,761.20 hitting up 12 retail stores. I normally do not do RA, but an opportunity came up and I just went all in. I'll kind of give a little backstory why I decided to do this. And I'm also going to give you guys the 8 words that I said that made this trip so successful and let me buy thousands of dollars more of product. If you're new to the channel, my name is Muscarello. I've sold millions of dollars on Amazon doing online arbitrage and books. My main focus is helping you guys make money selling brand name products on Amazon doing online arbitrage. With that being said, let's just get into it. So I was normally buying a product. It actually went out of stock online. I've never seen it go out of stock. So I was like, this is weird. There was something really weird going on. So I went to a couple stores by me to see if they had it. In my mind, I was like, if this really is out of stock, I should probably go to all the stores and get it. So I went to my local stores, and that led to me pulling out my phone, like, where is this? Is there another store close? And I just kept going down the rabbit hole, and before you knew it, I was driving all day, ended up getting a hotel room, and ended up spending almost $6,000 on products. But there are 8 things I learned that really enhanced the trip and made it easy. And I'm going to give you those because it is, sometimes if you don't normally do retail arbitrage, which I don't, it could be really cumbersome, but these 8 kind of things that I learned, I think will help anyone be able to do it simply and easily. Number 1, use self-checkout and use it when there are a bunch of people using it as well. Like the first couple of stores I went to, I was kind of the only one at the self-checkout. I mean, because there weren't a lot of people in the store because it was earlier in the day. So what naturally happens when you're doing self-checkout and, there are people there to help you out? Well, they just look at you because you're the only person doing self-checkout. So as the stores progressed on and the stores got a little busier, I tried to wait to get online or get to a self-checkout where there were multiple people checking out, because most of the time that the people who are helping, like, kind of scan stuff or do whatever when there's an error message, they have to look at everyone and not just you, and there's bound to be someone who has a problem. So when they're kind of dealing with that problem, I could just do my thing and just kind of, walk up, just start scanning them, don't really look at anyone, just do my thing, act like it's totally normal, and you kind of fly under the radar a little bit. That's kind of how I came to do that, and it worked out really well towards the end. No one even came up to me. No, like a lot of the first ones, people were like, oh, like, why are you buying so much of that, or blah blah blah. And we'll get into that, what I said a little later, because that's one of these tips. So there's that. Go to self-checkout if possible. Number 2, don't get greedy. There were a couple of stores where I could have got a lot more. There's about 2 of them, but just to check all of it out. Again, I'm not a retail arbitrage pro, so maybe people who are would have a better. I was also by myself, which, bonus tip, if you could go with someone, make it easier. You could split up carts, go to different checkout lines, use separate cards. There were some where I was just like, I'm not going to be able to buy all these for a couple of reasons. One, just credit card. For me, I have a great credit history, I have good limits, but I normally don't shop in store. So we'll just jump into number 3 and we'll kind of go back and forth with this. I should have probably called the credit card company, be like, listen, I'm going to be going to a bunch of these stores. I will be in store. I plan on spending, a couple $1,000. Please let all the transactions go through. And they probably would have let them go through. There were a couple that got declined. And then when I went back in the car, I had a text message from them, and then I would call them and be like, yes, this was me, blah, 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 blah. Again, this is an impromptu trip. So, I didn't want to I didn't really think to do that. But after the second time it happened, I was like, listen, could you just let all the charges go through? And then I didn't have a problem after that. But not getting greedy is a big thing for me. You know, just because people are going to start asking questions if you're trying to check out 50, 60, 70 or something. I know people do. I normally don't do RA. I'm not trying to build relationships with people, stuff like that. But rolls into the next one. Number 3, or this is number 4 because credit was down the list. Have a story. So for me, it made it much easier. I found it much easier to get help, to find more of this, if I kind of had a story about why I was trying to get this. And I do not think this is a good idea if you're doing RA full time. You kind of want to try to build relationships with these people, because like you're going to be coming in again and again buying lots of stuff, so you don't want to lie or kind of make up stories. But for me, I was on a mission. I was literally hunting down like 4 or 5 very specific things, and I just wanted to get in and out, and I needed to get the stuff as quickly as possible. So my kind of MO was, hey, my parents sent me out to kind of get as many of these as possible for their grandkids. I don't know how I drew the straw to do this, yada, yada, yada. People seemed to like that, and they kind of wanted to help out. There were a couple of times where I was like, is there more of this, or yada, 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 and didn't have like, oh, I'm trying to get this because of XYZ. People were a little less reluctant to help out or kind of go the extra mile and kind of go in the back and see. But for the most part, that seemed to work best when there was just kind of like a story. Why am I doing this? It makes it look a little less suspicious. And then with that though, you have to like think, you know, if you're trying to buy, this goes back to not being greedy. You know, if you're buying 60 of something, they're like, do they really have 60 grandkids? You know what I mean? So you got to be smart with how you're kind of looking at stuff and like what you're saying. For me, it was quick in and quick out. Another bonus tip, I was just looking for like 4 to 5 specific things. I wasn't looking at anything else. I wanted to get in, get out, get to the next store. For other people, maybe, you know, you want to look around. But for me, I was just kind of going after these other things. Number 5 or 6, I forgot what number we're on. Look for workers that might not be in the department and ask them if they have more of this item. It's a little less suspect in my opinion. So like if you're in the department that they sell it in, you know, those people are usually pretty familiar. They'll be like, nah, we don't have any more, or blah, blah, blah. But if you go to someone who's not in that department, they don't really know whether or not they have, because they don't work in that department. So then they actually look it up on the phone, and they think like, or they look it up in the computer, and they'll be like, yeah, it looks like we have some, like, let me go back. But if you're in the department and like someone who works in the department, like, nah, like this is all we have. So look for people kind of outside of the department and kind of ask them nonchalantly, hey, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any more of these or whatever? 6, be nice to everyone you encounter. You never know who you are going to run into. If you're in the bathroom or they're collecting carts or whatever you're doing, or just in the store, you want to look as normal as possible. You don't want to like have a hoodie on, put your hood on, like do your card, and like you don't want to look like a weirdo. Just look like normal, like look like you belong there, look like it's totally normal to buy, you know, 40, 50 or whatever you're doing, and just be normal about it. I think that's one of the biggest things that helped me. I just walked in there, had my story. If they asked me, I told it. If they didn't ask me, I just checked out, got in, got out, and that was it. It's like, oh, have a nice day. But like, super simple. You know, I think when you try to act shady, you look shady, and then they think weird stuff is going on. Number 7, know the downside. So for me, this product, I knew if it came back in stock for whatever reason, I would be fine. I would still be making money on this product. This was not a, oh my God, this is out of stock. You know, it's only going to be profitable if it doesn't come back into stock. It was not that. It was profitable with the tax. Know that if you're normally shipping to a prep center and you have to pay sales tax, make sure, you know, sometimes that extra $2 or $3 is kind of make or break for the product. So I knew like how much I'd be paying for it, what that ROI would be, kind of the worst case scenario. And for me, it just made sense. Whether or not it stayed out of stock or not, who knows? We'll see what happens. But if it does, I'm fine with it. If it doesn't, that's even better. So just make sure you know that ahead of time. Number 8, this is the biggest one. This literally scored me thousands of dollars of extra profit, for sure. And it was simply these 8 words. Do you have any more in the back? That sounds so simple, but I did see other sellers, or I presume other sellers buying certain items. They would just go to the shelf and take whatever was there and they'd go on their way. Most of the times in these stores, not everything they have is on the floor. Now, why is that the case? Because there's so many different SKUs that they stock that, you know, if it was a Nerf gun or whatever, right? Let's just say there's 100 Nerf guns. They're not going to just put 25. They can't put 25 of each out, right? It just doesn't make sense. So what do? They put 4 or 5 of each out. And then, you know, eventually if that SKU is like no longer on the shelf, someone will be like, oh, we need to put out more Nerf guns. And they do that. So simply just going up to them, just act normal. It's just like, hey, by any chance, do you have any more of these in the back? You know, I saw some on the floor. I was just wondering, I know sometimes you have more in the back. You could go back into your story. Hey, like this is why I'm looking for more, whatever you want to do. But the trip would have absolutely been terrible for sure if I did not ask that question, because a lot of the stuff was just not on the shelf. Like there was some that was, so I'd be like, hey, I found, you know, 2 of these. Do you have any more? Hey, even if they didn't have what I was looking for, so there was like 5 or 6 things I was looking for. Hey, I found 2 out of the 5. Be like, hey, do you have these other 3 in the back? And then sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. And again, it's just kind of being willing to talk to people, acting normal, being like, hey, this is totally normal. What I would do is I would just kind of have like the 3 things I was looking for and be like, hey, do you have these 3 things? And like kind of put like the rest, kind of like hide it in the cart, what I was already able to get. So they weren't kind of looking at my cart or whatever. So yeah, those are the 8 things I learned doing it. It was a good experience. Retail arbitrage is for sure a grind. Definitely props to everyone who does it. Yeah, it was a long day. I ended up getting a hotel, staying over. It was fun. But yeah, it was a great time. Oh, last bonus tip. If you are going to stay over, make sure you have a plan. I ended up buying these like containers to put in everything I bought. This way, when I stayed in the hotel, like if you looked in my car, there wouldn't just be a bunch of bags from that retailer that looked pretty like, ooh, like why does this person have like 50 of these bags back there? So I spent like, I don't know, like $40 or $50 buying containers to put all the stuff in. So then it just looked like I had 4 storage containers in my trunk, which wasn't as bad. Everything was safe and sound. Was a little nerve-wracking, you know, going to bed knowing there's almost $6,000 worth of stuff in your car. It all worked out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys do retail arbitrage? Do you have any tips? I would love to hear them. Please share this video with someone that you think should watch it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.